All right, last lesson. We're going to learn about applications now. And if you look at the applications, I know it might be hard to see this up here, but you have it on your worksheet. Is we're going to take a look, and a lot of these applications are when is the height 0? For this example, you shoot an arrow up in the air, it comes down. When is the height 0 is when it hits the ground. So we really want to set this equation, okay, negative 16t squared plus 64t plus 31. You really want to just set it equals 0. When the height is 0, that's when it hits the ground. So to do that, we're going to use our quadratic formula. We're going to use our calculator to basically do this whole problem, and we're going to type it all in at once. And that's really today's lesson, is how do I type this in using quadratic formula at once? C in this case is 31. So I set this up, and it's going to be negative opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So I'm going to show you how to take this in your calculator and how to put parentheses. Because a couple things you want to do is you want to make sure you do all of this divided by all of this. So I need to put the whole top here and then the bottom here. And I need to put it in parentheses. Next, in order to do this, I got to make sure that I take the square of all this. So I need to put parentheses. When I put this square root symbol, I need to put open parentheses and close parentheses for all of this. If I don't, it's just going to take the square of the first number. So let's go ahead and fill in the rest. So I get negative 64 plus, I'll do the minus second, and then in here I'm going to put 64 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 31, close parentheses for the whole thing, divided by 2 times negative 16. So when I enter that in my calculator, and you can pause the video and enter your calculator if you want, what I'll end up getting is negative 1.9, I'm going to round off to the nearest hundredths, 4. Does that make sense that it's going to take negative time to hit the ground? Probably not. So I know that this answer is probably not the one I'm looking for. But this is a plus or minus. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put negative 64. I'm going to do minus this time. And everything else is going to be the same. I'm going to write this a little lower so you can see it. So negative 64 minus square root, open parentheses, 64 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 31. Close the parentheses for the radical, close the parentheses here, divided by 2 times negative 16 in parentheses. Now, if you have this calculator here, if you actually hit second enter, it'll actually bring this up again, and you can just go back in and switch that negative sign. Now I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do second enter, and I'm just going to go, and instead of retyping this whole thing in, I'm going to change that plus to a minus right here. Let's see how that works. Hit enter, okay, and I got 2.94. Now that makes sense. So my answer to this question is, when does the arrow hit the ground? It would hit the ground in 2.94 seconds. So once again, the key is making sure you put the parentheses in the correct spots. If you have like a TI-83 or plus, I think it automatically will put a parenthesis there, and you'll still have to close it. But if you have the TI-82s, the ones the teacher has, you're going to have to put a parenthesis at both those spots. All right, so that's how you do the problem. Let's go ahead and take a look at that last problem, set it up, and make sure we can enter that in our calculator as well. All right, for example 2, now you got that eagle flying over a canyon, drops a stick from his claws, and this function basically tells you, okay, the height. And it wants to know, when does the stick reach the ground. So I'm going to take this height, okay, so when is it? Negative 16t squared plus 30. I want to know when it hits the ground, so when its height would be 0. So now in this case, A is negative 16, B is 0, and C is 30. And we'll use that quadratic formula again. So it'll be the opposite of B, which is a 0, plus or minus the square root of 0 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So I enter this in my calculator. I don't have to worry about the 0. I do have this plus or minus. So I'm going to put square root of 0, open parentheses. So 0 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 30, close parentheses. Oh, if you go back, make sure you put parentheses in the front. All right, so that's the whole top, and then divided by the whole bottom. So let's put that in. Open parentheses, second square root, and then parentheses. So I could put the 0 squared. I'm not going to put it because that's just 0. I'm going to do, so minus 0 minus 4 times negative 16 times 30. Close the parentheses here, close the parentheses here. Divided by, open parentheses, 2 times negative 16. And the answer ends up being negative 1.37. I know that's probably not what I want, so I'm going to go back now. This is the positive one. I'm going to go back and hit enter and take this all in with a negative in front. So I'm going to hit second enter, go back and put a negative sign down in front here. Do that at plus or minus. Second insert a negative sign. And this one I get 1.37. And that would be the time it takes to stick to the ground. Okay. All right, so once again, the main thing is putting your parentheses in the right spot and journal on your calculator at once.